Saruman. Now, Saruman's a very interesting character.
Yeah.
In fact, he's probably one of the characters in Tolkien's entire story that in a way has the most depth and is the most complicated. Because he's one of the only characters that's not truly good and not truly evil.
Truly selfish.
Yes, he's all about himself, which definitely makes for a character being kind of in the middle that can go either way.
Yes.
Which is perfect in our opinion for a what-if scenario.
Yes.
If you are new to these videos, we do not plan these out at all. We literally pick a topic. I've got a hair in my eye. Pick a topic and then just wing it.
Yeah.
Whatever happens in the story comes off the cuff, off the top of our head, straight out of our mouths and into this camera. So if it sucks, it's already happened. It's there. It's there forever. Anyway, in our scenario today,
yes.
What if Saruman took the One Ring? Now, our story today is going to begin at Amon Hen. So Saruman's party of Uruk-hai have gotten to Amon Hen.
Yep.
But this time they've taken the correct halfling. They've taken Frodo, not Merry and Pippin. Okay?
Just Frodo? Or Frodo and Sam?
I guess we should probably do Frodo and Sam.
Yeah.
Because they did take two before.
Okay.
And Sam doesn't go far without Frodo.
No, that is true.
And Frodo doesn't go far without Sam. So, Frodo and Sam are being carried off. Merry and Pippin have been left in tears near Boromir's body, most likely.
Yes.
Now, let's assume the main journey to a point is the same. The issue we've got to overcome in this story is, does the exact same thing happen? Does Eomer's company just come and take out the Uruks that are...
Ooh, that is a very good point.
So our what-if scenario of Saruman having the ring might be over before Saruman gets the ring. This is what happens when we wing it. We don't think it through.
No, it really does. Well, okay. I think, let's say for argument's sake, for the sake of the story, they managed to get past.
Okay.
So maybe because the ring is now in their presence, they're a bit more like strong-willed, empowered to keep going. They don't need that breather at the edge of Fangorn. They keep pushing forward. They don't wait for any of the Mordor host that joins them. It's just the Isengard Uruks. Just go straight back and get back to Orthanc and hand over some hobbits.
Yes. Now, if you aren't aware, Saruman's motivation truly was always to get the ring for himself.
Yes.
Almost using Sauron as... Not using Sauron, but also kind of using Sauron. And Sauron was also kind of aware that Saruman was out for himself, but was like, whatever, I'll use him.
Yeah.
You know, because he was the smarter one.
The messers become the messies.
Exactly. Now, let's say for argument's sake that Sauron's plan went wrong and Saruman achieved his goal. He now has the ring in Orthanc.
Yes.
What is the first thing he does? Because we now essentially have a three-way battle.
Yes.
A three-way war. We have, we'll call it the Free Peoples, so we've got Gondor, Rohan, and just the remaining Fellowship. We've got Saruman and his army of Uruks from Isengard, which, don't forget, he still has a huge army of at least 10,000 because Helm's Deep has not happened.
Nope.
And then we've got Sauron and his army from Mordor.
Personally, I would think Sauron at this point would basically... I don't think he would still be too worried about Saruman. I think he would basically still go along the lines of, he's going to give that ring up to me eventually. Yeah. He will be corrupted by it. He will give in. I will end up with it at the end point, regardless of who has it now. So I think what Sauron would actually do is just sit back. Because the Free Peoples, they would go, we need to get that back to destroy it. And Saruman's not going to destroy it. So Sauron could basically go, okay, you two fight it out. Whatever's left, I can swoop in and take out the rest.
Yeah, I think that's likely. It's also a little bit dependent on Sauron's patience. I think we know he's obviously...
He's pretty patient.
He's pretty patient. He, regrouped his strength after the last alliance for thousands of years. So he's definitely got it in him to wait for the right moment. But also, when a so-called ally, whether Saruman openly says, haha, I've got the ring, you lose, or whether he's like, yes, master, I'll bring it to you soon. I think that reaction depends a lot on Sauron's response.
That is true. I think Saruman would basically become a bit overconfident and think he could trick Sauron. So I think he would almost challenge him with the Palantir.
Yeah.
And basically be like, I can win this battle of wills. My voice is powerful. I can outvoice you, Sauron.
Yeah. And let's not forget that both Sauron and Saruman are both Maya. So they're although Sauron was said to be amongst the greatest, they are beings of a similar power.
Yes.
So there is no reason why Saruman at his peak couldn't contend with Sauron, who is currently not at his peak.
Yes.
Let's not forget.
Yes, that is true. And I suppose we also have to think that there's another Maya hanging around.
Yeah.
Who is going to have some kind of input on this.
Yeah.
So after all, we know Gandalf the White can easily overpower Saruman.
Yes.
So, where does he come into it?
Well, I think we have to take a few steps back and go. Saruman's just received the ring.
Yes.
You think he would challenge Sauron with the Palantir and openly declare himself?
I think he would basically declare himself, but I don't think he would take the challenge to him. I think he would basically say, like, Orthanc is like this almost indestructible tower. Like the army of Ents couldn't do any damage to it. So it was built by the Númenóreans, if I remember right. That might be wrong. I don't know. Off the cuff, I can't think if that's correct or not. But basically, he's basically got this fortress that he can defend himself in.
Yeah. And
he is such a genius with like machinery and all that kind of stuff. I think his defense would be a point where he would go, you can do whatever you want. You're not breaking down my walls. So I think he would basically like get those 10,000 Uruks plus more and set up shop.
Yeah. And I think unless everyone sort of... I think the circumstances of Helm's Deep and the defeat of that army were very particular. They had a very strong stronghold where they could defend and hold out until reinforcements arrived. So if they had to attack an army of 10,000 Uruks who could potentially defend an area, I think the scenario is a lot different and a lot harder. And that army is next to indestructible.
And that's the thing, especially if it's Rohan are the main attackers at this point, their power lies in their cavalry, which if you're laying a siege on somewhere, that it's pretty much useless.
Yeah. So at this point, Saruman is feeling very confident in his position. He is held up inside Orthanc with an army of 10,000 strong Uruk-hai, knowing that Rohan have lost their biggest power, which is their cavalry. Sauron probably would not risk attacking.
I don't think so, yeah.
At least not at this point.
No.
And Gondor is just being Gondor.
Yeah.
I mean, where was Gondor when Orthanc rose?
Yeah, I think part of Sauron's plan might even be is distract Gondor, like keep attacking like around Osgiliath and stuff, like basically distract them so they don't go and help. So it's not a Rohan and Gondor alliance.
Yeah.
But just Rohan attacking Isengard, because then either Rohan will get wiped out or they wipe out a lot of each other.
Yeah.
So I don't think many survive. And then it's just the case of individually they're nowhere near as strong as they would be collectively.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Sauron would do. Like divide and conquer.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Now, I think what Rohan do proactively depends on Gandalf's plan.
Yes.
He's there as the guide, the advisor, to fight in the battle against Sauron on this one ring, this great weapon. Now, what does he guide Rohan and perhaps Gondor to do to try and get this ring back? He knows Saruman. They are once great allies, good friends. So he's going to know probably his strengths and weaknesses. Another key thing I just thought about is, would Theoden still be under Saruman's control at this point? Which means he has an even bigger impact on what Rohan do.
Yeah. I think that part of the story kind of stays similar in that Gandalf, his first thing is probably to get Rohan back. Yeah. So I think the first thing from Gandalf's return is to go to Edoras, and obviously at this point we're kind of assuming that Gandalf the White is still stronger than Saruman with the ring.
Yeah, it depends. What we got to remember though also is that Saruman has studied magical rings. It's kind of his area of expertise. So does he perhaps know the key to unlocking its true power? maybe even without falling to its corruption as easily as someone else. We know that Maya are definitely susceptible to corruption, which is why Gandalf obviously is so fearful of the ring, essentially.
Yeah.
And the line he says, like, through me the ring would...
I'd wish to do... Well, what kind of thing?
Whatever.
I'd wish to do good, but I'd end up doing bad.
Yeah.
I'd do bad to make the good happen, is basically what he tries to say.
Yeah. But that's the scary thing with Saruman is he can do that and isn't afraid of that.
Yeah.
He's not afraid of doing the bad things to further his goals.
Yeah.
So, now we're at the turning point. Gandalf does the same as what he does in the normal story. He frees Theoden.
Yep.
Rohan are free.
Yeah.
Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. Boromir is gone.
Yeah.
Same way. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, they are back with Gandalf.
Yeah.
They've joined that side of the story. Now, important point. Merry and Pippin probably didn't end up in Fangorn.
No, they will be probably with the three hunters in Gandalf.
Yeah, so it's very unlikely that the Ents will have any involvement, meaning that the normal fall of Orthanc and Isengard wouldn't happen.
No. Yeah, I think that it's basically the case of they light the beacons, but in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And basically go, look, this needs to happen. Send your allies because we've got to. I think it's basically a case of like Gandalf would almost know the longer we give Saruman to prepare his defense, the more impossible it will be to defeat him.
Yeah.
So I think it is kind of the case of going, we've just got to attack as quickly as possible, gather as much as we can, as fast as we can, and almost a case of a bit like Pelennor, it's just everything. All your what's the phrase like? All your cards are in one hand. So what?
All your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, that'll do. Cards, eggs, baskets, hands, same thing. Yeah. So I think I kind of think it would go that way.
Yeah,
and we know. Think of anything.
Well, we know. I think Gandalf at least would know how resourceful Saruman is. How quickly he breeds these Uruk-hai and builds this army worthy of Isengard, in this case. So I think you're right in saying that Gandalf would be like, we need to go now.
Yeah.
We need to unite Gondor, Rohan.
Yeah. Okay, so in this sense, do Gondor come to their aid? Because Denethor is obviously being corrupted slowly by Sauron in the background.
And he's probably...
Gondor have their own problems as it is. They're not like they're sitting on their butts doing nothing. Do they answer?
I don't think so.
No.
It's nothing similar to the Westfold Fallen or Helm's Deep.
But I do think the Grey Company could still be involved here.
Yes.
Because of Aragorn being there.
Yeah.
I think the Grey Company could come. And I think, again, re-emphasising everything is off the cuff at this point. I think Gandalf would do his classic Gandalf thing. Kind of like in Helm's Deep, where basically goes, okay, you guys need to go do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do my own thing. And then he appears with the Ents later. I think, basically send them almost as, not a distraction, not like a suicide mission.
There's even a possibility at this point that he could be like calling on one of his cousins, Radagast, and maybe use his connection with nature and the forest to be like, look, our brother Saruman has not only fallen and been corrupted, he now has the One Ring, which even to Radagast, who's a bit of a outsider, I guess, in terms of the Order of the Astari, is going to be like, oh no, that's not good.
Yeah.
What do you need me to do? And I think you're right in saying Gandalf's going to know that the best chance they've got of sieging something like Orthanc, like Isengard, is Ents.
Yes. So obviously he has that idea in the main story. That's what Merry and Pippin are kind of left to wind their webs and all that stuff to make happen. So, yeah, I think Gandalf is this whole look for my coming on the third day, blah, blah, blah.
But instead of arriving with the Rohirrim, which would already be the ones initially sieging and initiating that siege, he arrives with 100 Ents.
I can picture something really stupid, but it might be funny. Basically, they arrive on the Eagles, and the Eagles are holding up the Ents, and they're dropping them in. So it's like parachute jumpers of Ents. So you just see the Eagles go, and all these Ents go, poof, poof.
I mean, it's certainly a possibility.
It depends who directs it. If someone wants to direct that movie, like Michael Bay, he could do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want Michael Bay directing this movie.
Or Peter Jackson, the way he went with The Hobbit, that could happen.
True.
If you can picture it, if Legolas can fly...
That's what happens in the Battle of Five Armies, though, right? They drop Bjorn in.
Yeah, Bjorn, yeah.
Yeah.
A single man turning into a bear.
Yeah. So it's certainly possible, but I don't think we go this way.
I say, yeah, because if Legolas can, like, capture Bat's legs and fly it, I'm sure the Eagles can drop some Ents in.
Yeah. But let's not go that route.
No, we're not going to go that route, but it was an image that popped in my head.
Yeah, I like it. I like where you're at, James. But let's say we've just got... how many... 6,000? We'll go 6,000 men of Rohan.
Yeah.
That's what we know they can muster around that. So 6,000 men of Rohan have attacked and taken the attention of Isengard's forces to the wall.
Yeah.
Gandalf arrives with, we'll say, how many Ents is realistic? 50?
Yeah, somewhere between 50 and 100 would be my guess.
Can that break through 10,000 Uruks with a prepared defence? That's the tough question.
I think there's a chance because they've got Gandalf.
Now, here's my argument.
Okay.
With preparation for sieging themselves, Isengard, Saruman, and the Uruks, when he prepared to siege Helm's Deep, he had explosives. We've seen what fire does to wood, which is what Ents basically are, trees, essentially. Now, if he had time to prepare to defend against a siege, do you not think he would prepare explosives on the outside of the walls, around the perimeter?
Potentially.
Have, flamed arrow archers on the walls?
Most likely, yes, but we also have to remember the way it actually went is that they break the dam and flood Isengard.
That's true.
So, if they can basically... The army's the distraction, and the Ents... So, say there's like a distraction here of the main army. Ents do another distraction here, but then there's a small group that come up this side, break the dam, and basically flood. So, it's the case of they have to come out, or they're going to drown.
I'm just thinking of the geography of Isengard, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to...
Is that dam within a perimeter, like a wall?
It depends on the artist's rendition, really. So I'm not actually sure on the official.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
As big movie fans, I pictured the movie first.
Yeah.
So in ours, I'm picturing that.
The only difference is Saruman is bound to know that's a weakness, and with time to prepare against a siege, knowing that he knows Gandalf knows he's got the ring. He knows they've got no choice but to attack. Don't forget, he was part of the White Council. He knows what's going on, essentially.
I mean, in the story of Tolkien, like, hobbits do their thing. So, the Ents attack the wall. The army attack the wall. Merry and Pippin go break the dam. Hobbits save the day.
I'm just not sure they'd be capable of breaking the dam.
Just they were a little nice.
I don't see that happening.
No, I don't know if it can actually happen. But yeah,
I think it would come down to Rohan would lose significant numbers. The Ents, again, also would lose significant numbers because I genuinely believe that Saruman would be smart in his preparations and his defence, and he would have explosives and fire arrows.
Yeah.
It would all be prepared. He might not necessarily even be prepared for Ents, but I think the defences that he would have set up would be sufficient enough to deal with them.
Yeah. Okay, so Rohan have lost.
Yeah, I think it gets down to a low number where they're forced to retreat.
Yeah, okay. Where do they retreat to? Do they go to Gondor?
Or Helm's Deep.
But they have no army to defend it with. I know
but that's the beauty of Helm's Deep. They don't need an army to defend it.
Okay. Well, if that happens, then I think at that point, Saruman would push forward, siege it, and defeat it. Yeah. Because there's no reinforcements coming. A worse defense than they did actually have. And realistically, they've just suffered off the back of a bad battle, so they're not even fresh. So, yeah.
I just thought something I want to change from earlier on in our story.
Oh dear.
I think Saruman, being the smart wizard that he is, this doesn't have an impact on everything that's happened. It has an impact on what would happen going on. When we said that Saruman would maybe openly challenge Sauron, I think he's smarter than that. I think he would at least attempt to trick Sauron into a matter of, right, I've got your gift, I've got your ring. I will deal with Rohan.
Yeah.
You deal with Gondor. When we finish them, look, I've got this army, 10,000. Rohan won't be an issue. As soon as Gondor is out of the way, I will bring the ring straight to you. So I think at this point now, Gondor is tied up with a heavy, heavy battle. But this time, without Gandalf, without Aragorn, without the army of the dead, stopping the Corsairs of Umbar, and without the Grey Company. I think all that happens sooner, because Saruman's like, look, we're ready.
Yeah.
Attack Gondor now.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that happens.
Okay.
So at this point, Rohan is done, defeated. The majority of their army is finished, dead. They've retreated to Helm's Deep, where they feel secure. Saruman seizes this opportunity to say, okay, now is my opportunity. Attack Helm's Deep. Without any reinforcements coming, they fall.
Yep.
Big question. Does Gandalf fall in either of these battles, or is he still there?
I think he'll fall.
Yeah?
I think at that point, it's... If they don't win there, they don't win. In the scheme of what Gandalf is there for, and his quest. I think he's basically got to die with them, or lead them to victory.
Now, another question. If Gandalf falls, does he get sent back again?
No.
One opportunity?
I think it's the case of, like, basically the Valar sent them the first time, they failed. Eru sends him back with some more power, because it was a decent plan, but they failed. He fails twice. I think at that point...
Well, you tried.
Yeah, it's like, we tried, not going to happen. If all else comes into it, the Valar can come and get rid of Sauron if it really wants to come to that.
Yeah.
Eru can really intervene if he really wants to, but
He wouldn't.
I think they would basically accept the Istari mission just wasn't as good of an idea as they thought.
Radagast is off doing his own thing. Saruman turned to evil. Gandalf failed, and the Blue Wizards are God knows where.
Yep.
Okay, so Rohan's fallen.
Yep.
Saruman is victorious here. Gondor and Mordor are tied up, and without all the reinforcements for Gondor,
I think
they are getting
especially
very
with
quickly
Denethor as the one in control, like they're gone. I think they're wiped out.
He probably orders them to retreat, and as they're retreating, they just get crushed.
Yeah.
So at this point, we've got Sauron victorious in Gondor.
Yep.
Saruman victorious in Rohan.
Yep.
There is potentially, if all this stuff was pushed forward, also a battle going on up here in Dale. The war in the north. That's an important one, because if nothing's changed here, then that army is potentially still wiped out. So we've still got an army of dwarves, and
yes,
but it was such a big, devastating battle. There's not much of an army left to make.
Yeah, I feel like whoever wins this bottom bit on our supposed map here, would deal with that. Yeah. Especially because whoever wins has the ring.
Yeah.
So
now it comes to the realization where Sauron realizes, where's Saruman?
Yeah.
Why don't I have my ring yet?
Yeah.
I think at this point he becomes angry.
Yeah.
And he attacks Saruman. Saruman is probably still orchestrating things from Orthanc, where his army is probably currently settled in Helm's Deep after killing the remaining soldiers of Rohan. Does he attack Helm's Deep? Sauron attacks Helm's Deep? Or does he split his forces, one Helm's Deep, one to Orthanc?
So trying to think of the geography of the map, Helm's Deep would be on the way to Orthanc.
Yeah.
So I think basically it's just army to Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Crush.
Yeah.
And obviously Sauron was prepared to besiege in the likes of Minas Tirith. I think he would also have the tools, the machinery, whatever, to deal with Helm's Deep. Obviously his army is a lot bigger than the 10,000 Uruks, though individually they might not be as strong. The sheer numbers I think would be too much. And we also have the Nazgul, which would the wills of the Uruk and stuff, they wouldn't be as they wouldn't be as strong as some of the heroes of men.
True.
In that sense.
Yeah.
And obviously there's no white wizard to encourage.
Absolutely. If our main heroes have fallen at this point, I think the chances of holding somewhere like that are so low when you've got the Witch King on a fell beast flying in. Yeah. I think even just that is enough to just it's a big loss. And we've seen from the siege of Pelennor of Minas Tirith that Sauron's siege weaponry is more than just ladders.
And we also have to remember that there has just been a battle where the Uruks have wiped out the remaining forces of good at Helm's Deep. So there's going to be damage to Helm's Deep as it is.
Not only damage to Helm's Deep, but there would be some losses to the Force of Urux.
So a weakened Helm's Deep, a weakened Force, Sauron, I think, just bulldozes through.
Yeah, completely.
And then makes his way to Orthanc and basically surrounds it. And then it's almost a waiting game.
It's a waiting game, but I think Saruman, in his overconfidence with having the ring, whether he's with or without much of an army at this point, I think would be overconfident, step out and confront the forces.
Yeah, I think he would foolishly think he can.
I think he would
talk his way out.
He'd call out the Witch King.
Yeah.
You, the mightiest servant of Sauron. Come on, show me what you've got. And I think ultimately he may even defeat, probably would kill the Witch King. He might even kill multiple Nazgul. But I think there's no way he is taking on an entire army. He's going to fall.
Yeah.
I think after going down with quite a fight, an overconfident win, I think he will eventually fall, and the ring would find its way to Sauron.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
Yeah. Basically, long story short, in my opinion, any other attempt to use the ring, other than to destroy it,
ends with Sauron.
Ends with it back in Sauron's hands.
Yeah.
Or on Sauron's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only way to not let Sauron win is to destroy the ring.
Yeah.
So although all these what-if scenarios are so much fun to explore and journey through, they ultimately will always end up with Sauron being victorious.
Yeah. It was very much a very specific
set of circumstances.
Yeah, that led to a victory.
Yeah.
And that's the thing we love about these kind of stories, is it is the underdog story. But being an underdog story does mean that when you change things, that makes a big difference to the outcome.
For sure. Okay, that's our story.
Yeah.
That was super fun. These are always really fun. Again, we didn't pre-plan anything or even set anything up. These are 100% off the cuff, so...
Which is why we kept going back and changing things.
Yeah, and also, I'm sure there's things we've forgotten about. Like, we didn't even talk about the main outcome of Aragorn and stuff, but we're just assuming that...
They fell in battle.
Yeah, which is realistic, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure there's things we've forgotten about and not taken into consideration. But again, improvise, so let us off the hook. Thank you very much. I really hope you enjoyed.
Yep.
Yeah, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think. And we will see you next time on